A lot of love for Oneil Cruz, especially this week. Some young stars talk on MLB Network as well. So let's bring in his general manager, GM of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Ben Cherington, joining us right now. Ben, it's Scotty B, Ron Darling, Ruben Amaro. How are you today? And how much are you enjoying watching the guy that we just showed to the world?
It's been fun. He does some unusual and really cool things on the field. And I was talking to someone the other day, you want him to do all those things so people can see it, and then do also all the other little things that add up to being the great player, and we think he's going to do that too. He's brought a lot of energy to the lineup already.
Hey, Ben, the fan base, they absolutely wanted this guy to be on the team at the outset of the season. What went into that decision to send him down, and what did he do for you and your people to have him be ready to make that next step to the major leagues?
Yeah, it was a tough decision in spring training. We talked about it a lot. But we really tried to keep in the center of our mind, like, Oneil Cruz is going to help us win as many games as possible in Pittsburgh. And when he does come up, because when he does come up, we want him to be here to stay and to play a ton. And how do we put him in a position to help us win as many games as possible? So there were some clear defensive and offensive goals that we had put in front of him coming into spring training. And then we just felt like it would help him to have some time in AAA to really get into a good spot before he came up, and we felt like he did as the calendar turned into June, and so we picked a spot in the calendar, and sure enough, he's come up and really helped us. He's played well on both sides of the ball, done some spectacular things, but also done some routine things really well, and we're excited that he's part of the Pirates and has a chance to be for a long time.
You know, Ben, I've been impressed watching your team play, how hard they play, how tough they are. Despite not always getting the wins. When you look at your team right now, a young team, what are some of the things that you've really enjoyed that you think your team is doing better than you thought they would at this time?
Yeah, I think you mentioned one of them, and I guess the toughness goes along with being well prepared and giving ourselves a chance to win games. Credit to the players, certainly, but our staff, Derek Shelton, our coaching staff, they do a great job of keeping our guys focused on competing, on preparing, on believing when we go into games, believing we can win, making good decisions before and during game to give ourselves a chance to win. But I really respect how hard our team plays, how well prepared we are, and just as much as that, the way they show up the next day ready to get back to work and get better.
Yeah, it's a team of young bucks. I know they're learning on the fly sometimes at the major league level. I had some good conversations a few weeks ago when I did a game of yours. We talked to Derek Shelton, and we also asked him about the progression of Mitch Keller. And I know there's been a shift from the four-seam fastball to more of the two-seamer, and the stuff's been there, right? I mean, this was a big-time prospect. What are you currently seeing from him? What kind of conversations go down between your team, the coaching staff, front office, et cetera, with Mitch to help his development and help him become who we think he can be?
Well, there's no question, as you said, there's been a real change. It's happened sort of inside a season, going to more of a sinker and changing the shape of the slider. And I think as we, it's easier for us to all see those changes, and it's lining up with better results. But I think if you go back to the off season, what we appreciate about Mitch is how hard he worked in the off season to put himself in a position physically, in terms of how strong he is, putting his delivery and his body in a better position so that those pitch design changes could take place. I think we often, talk about pitch design changes, or we're adding a pitch or shaping a pitch differently. But if that's done on top of sort of a rusty engine that's not strong and working well, it can break down pretty quickly. To Mitch's credit, he put himself in a great position in terms of just being really strong and getting his delivery in a good spot so that he could then add the pitch changes and the usage changes on top of it. And we're starting to see that come out. Just really happy for him, and obviously he's helping the team.
I'm a big draft guy, Ben. I'll be a big part of it next month. Looking forward to it. And you had the top pick last year in Henry Davis. So just wanted to go through what the thought process is. Obviously we're not getting into who are you picking, but last year with Henry Davis signing and using also some of that comp money to be able to spread it around later on in the draft, what the strategy is like there. We've seen that work for teams in the past, like say Houston with Carlos Correa, and that also helps to get a Lance McCullers Jr. So what kind of strategy goes into a draft when you were working, and we're looking now at your picks from last year, the top 5, enabling the team to not just focus on who's our first pick, but then what does the rest of the early rounds look like for us?
Yeah, well, certainly every team is going to put a lot of effort into everything that goes into the preparation, the scouting that happens all year, the performance analysis we're doing, finding the best way to aggregate all that information so that the board gets set up in the most precise way possible. But you also have to, be sort of present and current in the year you're in, and adapt to the particular draft class that you're working in. If you have a high pick in a certain year, it's going to be different every year depending on that last class of players. So we're going to look at this particular class in 2022 as we set the board up with our team. And we'll get into that here not too long from now, about 10 days from now. We want to get that board set up and then consider this particular class and where we sit in the draft at number 4, and then our picks after that, and just how do we get as much player talent as we possibly can out of this draft. We know that the first pick, just history says the first pick, the odds are that's where the biggest return is coming from, that first pick. So we certainly prioritize that. But we need to look at the whole draft class. What's this draft class telling us in terms of where the strengths are, where opportunities might exist later, and just adapt and be ready as sort of similar to the deadline. You have your list and rank it, get the ranking as precise as you possibly can get it, and then be ready to stay open-minded and adaptable as you get into draft night.
Okay, so then last question, who are you picking 4th overall? No, I'm just playing. I'm playing. We'll talk about that in a few weeks. A really good player, exactly, to complement the many others in the minors right now with your squad. Hey, Ben, thank you so much for the time. Good luck the rest of the way, and also with the draft prep.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.